guys, Laggimus Prime here, and I'm going to be showing off my updated deck list for the Tower Defense deck. It's gone through some small changes, not too big, not too major. Some of the Tamers did get mixed up. There is a new couple of Tamers, took out some other ones. There's a couple of new options. Like I said, there's not too much in a difference in the deck, but it's still really fun to play, or at least I really like playing it. So we're going to get started. So we have the 4 eggs, like always. We have the 4 Mother D Reapers. 15k, can't be touched by your opponent unless they raid into it. Really good card. All the other text doesn't matter. Pretty much this is your tower essentially. And this is how you're going to keep yourself alive a lot of the time. Especially because you can turn this into a blocker. So when it blocks, it's a 15k untouchable blocker. Unless they have something bigger than 15. You can even get this thing to 18k if you wanted to. But that's your main tower. It's going to be your main source of defense. Because this deck runs no Digimon. That is the only thing technically that is a Digimon. But it's the egg, so it's not really a Digimon. But let's go ahead and I'll showcase how you're actually going to turn it into a blocker. So there's 2 ways. There's this one option right here called Testament. It's a yellow 3-cost option until the end of your opponent's turn when your Digimon gains blocker. It's a fantastic card. I honestly, it's a very old card. It's from BT1. And it's in the security. You trigger a draw 1, and then you also add this card to hand. So not only is it a way to give yourself defense, it is also a way to draw cards if hidden security, which is very nice. Next, the other way we have to turn it into a blocker is Final Zubagon Punch. We're running 3 of these. So one of your Digimon gets plus 3k DP till the end of your opponent's next turn. And then if he has 16k or more, it gains blocker, reboot, and security attack plus 1. So another way to increase Mother D Reaper's attack as well as give it blocker. Now on to the cards that tend to... well, this is our board wiping options. These are ways to get rid of all of these decks that go wide or just to try and clear something. All right, so first off, we have X Program. It's an 8-cost card, quite costly, but this is one way to pretty much just get rid of everything on the board, including your Mother D Reaper. If there's 3 or more Digimon, it will destroy everything that doesn't have X antibody in its traits. So you have to be careful when using this card, because if you are going against an X antibody deck, it will just hurt you more than it will hurt the opponent. But its other effect is you can just delete 1 Digimon without X antibody in its traits. So you pretty much want to try to hold on to this until your opponent has a huge board, or you just really need to get rid of like a really strong Digimon on their side. We run 3 of these. The other option that I really like to play in this deck is called Schwarzlaharzat. I'm not sure how to say it, but it's a purple option, 6 cost. So for each Digimon with hybrid in its traits, and each Tamer you have in play, delete 1 of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. This is one way to, once again, just wipe the board, because you're going to be running pretty much a ton of Tamers. Like, I'm talking a lot of Tamers in this deck. So you can get hit pretty hard by Quartz with this, or Death X. But if they throw a Death X out there, it's not going to affect you as much, because there's nothing that they're de-digivolving, nothing can be deleted. So yeah, this card is one of my favorite ones to play more often than X Program, but I'd say it's pretty good. And most of this stuff that Insecurity will activate their main effect, so that's pretty much what most of them do. So another card, so we're moving from board wiping to more getting rid of Digimon that are much harder to get rid of, that you can't just simply delete. So you'll run 3 Chaos decks. This is pretty much a staple for decks that don't majorly run Digimon, or such as like Setcon or anything like that, because Chaos Degradation is one heck of a way to get rid of a Digimon without bouncing it to hand, bottom decking it, or just straight deleting, because you're putting it into security. It pretty much bypasses everything. So you place one of your opponent's Digimon face down at the top or bottom, and then you trash their top security stack. If this is insecurity, you just place one of their Digimon face down at the top or bottom of their security. So It's just a way to get rid of a body that you just wouldn't normally be able to get rid of. Now we'll move on from deletions for right now. I'm pretty much showing you all the multiple copies that you run into the deck, or at least that I do. I run 3 of Holy Flame. I like this card in the deck more often than Holy Wave or some of the other stuff. The reason why is because it's only a 2 cost to play, so you can choke your opponent, but also, so one of your opponent's Digimon gains security attack -3. That is -3 for just a simple 2 cost card. It really shuts down almost anything because it's quite hard for a deck to get past +3 security. Usually most of the time it's War Gray, Gaomon, or something like that. But even still, I think, yeah, there's not too many things that can get higher than a +3 security. But in security, all of your opponent's Digimon gain security attack -1 for the turn. So this is one card that I really like to run because I ran into some... when I was playing on a simulator, I was running into some Rookie Rush decks, and so, or even Numamon. So they would just swing into my security continuously, and even if I had Holy Wave in there, it would just recover me +1 and it wouldn't do anything. But there have been times when Holy Flame is checked in there when I have my enemy has a bunch of rookies or anything like that, and all of them to get security -1, so it spares me at least another turn. So on to a little bit more destruction. So this is going to be where a red card comes into play. So we do run a couple of red Tamers, so we don't run too many of these. But this was suggested to me in the comments. Trident Gaia. It is an 8 cost. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP. If a Digimon with 13k DP or more is deleted by this effect, you trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. It is a really good card to run, but I only run 2 of it because a lot of the times when I see their level 6s, they're only like 12k, and they only gain the buff whenever they're Digivolved or they're doing an attack or something like that. So yeah, Trident Gaia we only run 2 of because we don't have that many red Tamers in the deck, so you don't want to really run too many red options. But if you ever adjust your deck and you get more red options in there, you can easily replace this with Crimson Blaze or anything like that. In fact, I might try to replace one of these options with Crimson Blaze just to prevent stuff, or maybe Diaboromon or anything like that. So now we go into the 1 of cards that I run in the deck. So we run a 1 of Revelation of Light. It is another way to clear some smaller boards or make things a little bit lower DP, so that way Mother D Reaper can block something bigger than it or anything like that. So Revelation of Light, pretty much, you search your security stack and you can play a level 4 lower Digimon, but you're never going to be using that. You don't play Digimon in this deck, so the main effect doesn't matter, except for the second part, where if you have a Tamer with Kari in its name, or Kari Kamiya, you place this card on top of your security stack. So this is one way to recover, but also a way to help prevent your opponent from just swinging into you because they have to do something. Like this has cleared a lot of stuff. Like in a previous video when I went against Mega Gargo, they had like a bunch of the level 3s, and even if they have some of their armor rush things, or armor purge, sorry, it just DP reduces them. So if they get deleted, then armor purge doesn't matter. So yeah, in security, all of your opponent's Digimon and security Digimon get -5k DP until the end of your turn. So not only does it, if they hit it in security, their minus DP also applies to your turn, so you can easily... well, in this deck, you're not really going to be hitting into anything, but it wouldn't hurt. If you wanted to, you could also run Death X in this deck, or anything of the sort. Usually Death X is probably the better one, and then you could swing into it with Death X. But this is just a good way to clear small bodies. That's why I only run 1 of it. So on to the other 1 of. It is a Reinforcing Memory Boost. Just a generic level 6. You can only run 1 of these anyway. Or not level 6, 6 cost. Pretty much reveal top 2 cards, place 1 on top of your security stack, add the other to your hand, and then delay, you gain 3 memory. It's just a way to make your security more stacked in your favor, or get cards in your hand that you need. Another 1 of option is Rivals Barrage, just another way to clear a big body. I used to run more of these in here, but Chaos Dead kind of is more necessary, especially if you're going against stuff like Heavy Leo, because if you delete it, it just comes back. So Rivals Barrage is just in there in case you need it. Plus Insecurity, delete one of their highest levels, it helps. So I used to have Ulti Flare in this deck, but I decided to opt out of that and put in DG Dimension, because this is a board, it's pretty much a board wipe, but this has come in handy in some fights where they have a good couple of level 4s. So like if you're going against Armor Purge, you just play DG Dimension and you de-digivolve all their Armor Purge and then you delete them all. So this is one way to really get rid of a board. It only de-digivolves 1 on 3 of your opponent's Digimon, but it can help in the long run. Now, on to the Tamers. So, these are the Tamers. This one hasn't changed very much. So, you have 3 Digimon Emperor. We're trying to lock down the opponent from getting all of their when Digivolving effects. So, they have to Digivolve into the level 4 in their raising, because if they promote the level 3, then this will proc. So if they move from the breeding area to the battle area, you gain 2 memory. It's a way to just keep them from them doing all their stuff in the breeding area and then promoting and Digivolving. And then all turns, when one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon is deleted, you can suspend him to draw 1, which is really necessary because you do need to get some cards in your hand in this deck, because you need your sources, so you need your Tamers, you need the options to you just need stuff for this to work. Essentially, it's just a good way to get your pieces in hand without having to actually play drawing cards. Now, for a new Tamer that we added into the deck that was not in the last one, 3 Hokuto. Now just say Hokuto or Hokuto, whatever his name is. At the start of your turn, if your opponent has 3 or more Tamers, gain 1 memory. I keep forgetting about this effect a lot, and I really shouldn't, because with how long the game goes, your opponent will have more than 3 Tamers. In fact, sometimes they'll have even more than you if you don't get the Tamers in your hand. Kinda sucks, but it happens. But all turns, when an opponent plays a Digimon, by suspending this Tamer, you gain a memory. If it is level 4 or higher, I feel they should say or draw 1 if it's a level 3. So if it's a level 4 or higher, you gain a memory. If it's a level 3, you draw 1. So either way, when they're playing a Digimon, you are gaining stuff off of this. So this is a way. So if you have both of these on the field, it hard locks them kind of rough, because if they try to promote a level 3, you gain 2 memory. If they just play the level 3, then you get then you get a draw. Or if they're a level 4 or higher, then you gain a memory. So it really kind of makes them have to stop and think like, okay, I should think about what I'm doing now instead of just straight hard playing all my stuff or anything like that. So it helps with like Cross Heart or anything that pretty much just plays Digimon. Even, Digicrossing also counts as playing that, so it works. On to some of our main Tamers that we run. We have 4 of Kari from BT4. It's a simple effect. This is one of your purple sources. When a card is removed from security stack, you can suspend this Tamer to gain a memory. That's it. Simple effect, but it's really there for the name and the purple source. But it is a good way to help prevent your opponent from just swinging at you. Now we also run 4 copies of Mimi from BT3. Another simple effect, when a player uses an option, you can suspend this Tamer to gain a memory. Great, you play 8 cost options. Just having at least 2 of these reduces the 8 to 6. It really helps. Even playing like a Holy Flame or something like that, you're like, oh, I was going to pass turn to me. Nope, not with Mimi. One thing I like to do with Mimi, though, is when my opponent plays a training card, like Agility Training or Wisdom Training, and they're like, oh, I want to keep it my turn because I'll just pay 2 memory. No, Mimi says you have to pay 3, so pass it back over to my turn. Pretty much Mimi just says that 2 cost option is now a 3 cost option. You might as well just be playing a blue memory boost. Or memory boost card. Anyway, on to the next few Tamers. These are your black sources. My favorite in this deck because it gives you a ton of blocking potential. 4 ties from ST5. Opponent's turn. When you use blocker to suspend one of your Digimon, you can suspend the Tamer to unsuspend one of your Digimon. So if you have 4 of these ties on the field, your Mother D Reaper can block 5 times. It is hilarious, especially well when you have to combine it with Final Zubagon Punch and Testament. But it's great. Like, I wish there was a way for me to give Mother D Reaper permanent blocker, but there's not really a way to do that at the moment. Maybe in the future somehow, some way. But either way, I love using this card because just block, unsuspend, block, unsuspend. I used to use this in Galactic Mon, but it was way too defensive. Anyway, on to our next Tamers. Here's some of our yellow sources. We have 3 Spencer Damon. So this is a very situational card. It's another way to give yourself more blockers and just kind of stall out turns. So what he does is at the end of your turn, once per turn, if the total amount of security in both player security stacks is 6 or less, he turns into a 3k DP Digimon with blocker. And then, when one of your yellow Digimon, which is him if he is a blocker, becomes suspended, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 1k DP until the end of your opponent's turn. There have been times where people have swung into me with a 3k rookie, and then I block with Spencer, and I've actually had multiple Spencers before, and then just reduces DP down enough for Spencer to just beat the Digimon. It's very situational now because you want the security to be lower than 6. So either you have to be at 1 and they have to be at 5, or you have to be at 0 and they have to be at 6. That's why I kind of don't like Chaos decks sometimes, because if it's hitting security, it's making it harder for your Spencers to become Digimon and blockers. Not only that, Reinforcing Memory Boost can do that. Cards that pretty much put stuff into your security, it's not good with Spencer. But that's also why we run Trident Gaia, because if you do get that Chaos deck in the security, or, you know, the stuff like that, then Trident Gaia might be able to help remedy that by trashing some of their security. Either way, this deck is pretty much meant to stall and go for the long haul. You know, you're trying to survive as long as possible. You're not really trying to win too much per se, but you're just pretty much trying to live, survive, essentially. All right, anyway, so here's some of our red Tamers. This is where it gets a little funky. We run 3 Tai and Kari, the dual Tamer from BT9. So it works really well with the deck because if you have 3 or fewer security, you get a memory. If your opponent has 3 or fewer, which will hardly ever happen, you also get another memory. So you're going to be getting memory off of it. It's just a way to do that. The second effect doesn't really matter too much. When one of your red or yellow Digimon attacks, you may suspend this Tamer to have all of your opponent's security Digimon get minus 2k DP for the turn. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all. It's pretty much just here to gain you memory and be a red source. Also to have Kari in name. Now on to our last 2 Tamers. It's just a couple of one-ofs. We'll put it right here. We have Matt from BT2. Memory Setter, always good to have. Also really good on play because you can get one of your purple options back. So you can get back Swords, Chaos Dag, Rivals Barrage. You just get them back and be able to use it on another Digimon when they are ready to promote or anything like that. And then the last, let me move DD Dimension here. The last Tamer that we play is another Tai. So this is the Memory Setter Black Tai. So if you have 2 or lower memory, so it's 3. But all turns, when an attack target is switched, by suspending this Tamer, draw 1, and one of your Digimon gets plus 2k DP until the end of their turn. So if you have an 18k Mother D Reaper, and they have an 18k or a 19k fixing to raid into it or just hit you, then you defend or you block with Mother D Reaper. Now it's a 20k blocker, and you get to draw a card. It's just that easy. So like I said, this deck runs no Digimon whatsoever. As you can see, it's kind of all over the place, but you would be shocked at how surprisingly effective this deck can be. It surprisingly works. It just works. I don't know how. I came up with this on a whim, but it just works. And granted, I understand it is pretty much essentially just setcon, but I feel like since this is a more tamed version of that, from what I've been told, it's actually a bit more enjoyable to watch and go against, because with Setcon, you're pretty much recovering all the time. You're minusing their DP. You're just doing a whole bunch of stuff. With this, you're pretty much just trying to survive. And there's no Digimon in it. And like I said, you can run Death X. You can run all sorts of options that you want to. This is a very customizable deck. But still, this is my favorite version so far. I hope that you all enjoy it as well. Please let me know in the comments what you think could also be adjusted or added, changed. Like I said, Digimon Emperor being put up and then getting rid of Genai and replacing with Hokuto actually is a lot better. Genai can get you those searches if you want for your Tamers. And the Digimon Con card is also an option to use, but we are using more than 2 cost Tamers. So it's a bit harder to get that to work. But still. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll catch you later.
Baby!